This place we're in right now, my wife and I made it, so stay after for a quick tour. Pretty cool. Howdy, partner. Much obliged for you showing up today. ADHD, which one should you take? Coffee, energy drinks, soda pop, tea, water? Howdy, Neurodivergent Nation, and might I add, caffeine enthusiasts. You know who you are. Welcome to the showdown between caffeinated beverages, where we find out which of these has the quick draw on my ADHD and which ones I need to outlaw from my life and why. Disclaimer, of course,
This is not medical advice, and consult your doctor before ingesting anything, including not limited to caffeine, sugar, and I'm not recommended the use of caffeine or stimulants for the treatment of ADHD or any other disorder in this video. Consult your doctor, consult your doctor, consult your doctor, consult your doctor.
Let me just belly up to the bar here for a second and ask you a question. When it comes to managing symptoms commonly associated with ADHD, and I'm talking about difficulty paying attention, when you need to, staying alert when you need to, not getting distracted when you shouldn't be, staying on a task, getting motivated to start a task that you're not excited about, and more. When it comes to managing these symptoms, what's the first thing that people think about, that they turn to, that they say helps? Is it caffeine? I'll bet it's caffeine. Did you say caffeine? I bet you said caffeine, probably because it's in the type. Most people, and I'm talking mostly about neurotypical people, think of caffeine as a quick pick-me-up and a way to wake up, get energized, and perform at a higher cognitive level. Or for some ADHDers, they don't really feel like that. But do you get the same effects from caffeine? And if you're watching this, you got to be ADHD, because why else would you be watching this, right? But really, does caffeine affect you like this?
I had a couple Red Bulls. Have you ever had a Red Bull? I never had a Red Bull before, but I had a Red Bull last night. I really like Red Bull. We could share Red Bull.
Okay, that'd be really fun. That sounds like... I think I'd really...
In my experience, working with thousands of ADHDers and their symptoms, I often hear that they typically do not get that amped up and energized feelings that most people say they get from caffeine. But wait, isn't that what the makers of all these big drink companies brag about? It gives you wings. Instead, many of the ADHD town folks I've spoken with, they say they feel more calm and focused when drinking caffeine beverages. So it's kind of like a little bit on the opposite side. Is that true? I don't know. But what about caffeine and ADHD meds like stimulants? Well, caffeine is a stimulant, and many ADHD meds are stimulants also. When taken together, is it too much? So this again is my CYA disclaimer again. Shoot it out. But aside from that CYA statement, researchers Barry and Christopher suggest that when ADHD meds and caffeine are taken together, they may team up in a synergistic way and may do a better job managing some ADHD type symptoms. They also say that a person may not need as much of their stimulant meds in those cases. So put that in your pipe and smoke it, you varmint. Side note, varmint has an interesting origin. Varmint means objectionable or troublesome person and is derived from the word vermin. It's been found in sources as early as 1530. Okay, so about how we get caffeine. What is your preferred vehicle of caffeinated goodness that carries it into our body? Which one of these vehicles appears to be most effective? Which ones are like the broke-back, flea-bitten horse that's good for nothing? And which one is a mighty steed, and why? I put tape over this. I have no idea why I did that. I'm assuming it's for brand not recognition. I'm not sure if we even need to do this. Do you know what this is? I don't even know if you can tell. Everybody can tell what this is. Everybody knows what this is. Look at this. Everybody knows what this is. If you're like me, you have an ADHD brain, and ADHD brains are looking for dopamine and norepinephrine, which are the two transmitters usually implicated in symptoms related to ADHD. These neurotransmitters help us with attention and focus and impulse control. And stimulant medications like methylphenidate and other prescribed amphetamine-style medications, many people know them by the names of Ritalin, Adderall, etc., they tend to work on people by increasing the availability of dopamine and norepinephrine in certain parts of the brain, with the idea that they help to improve attention and impulse control. But get this, they can also help with emotions and mood and getting started on tasks and finishing tasks in individuals with ADHD. At least that's my experience. Dopamine plays a crucial role in some reward and pleasure pathways in the brain. So, a low dopamine response means low pleasure, and the brain craves pleasure, right? So, where are you going to get it? often through some sort of stimulation, like looking at things or touching things or saying things, and not doing boring, pointless stuff like listening to teachers drone on and on about something they clearly don't know much about, or bosses that assign tasks that don't make any sense, or students being assigned completely pointless handouts or online assignments to keep them busy. But I digress. So let's talk about sugar. Wait a minute there, mister. Sugar's powerful bad for us, right? Well, sugar consumption releases what? Dopamine. And dopamine contributes to our survival. And if you remember, it activates some brain processes involved in feeling reward and pleasure. Our brains basically run on sugar. And while there are downsides to too much sugar or different kinds, we're going to focus on the topic at hand here, ADHD, ingesting caffeine. But I will say this, ingesting sugar is shown in various studies to increase dopamine levels in the brain from our normal levels to like 135% and even up to 200%, which interestingly enough is similar to what alcohol and nicotine does to our dopamine levels. This is better one. But sugar isn't all candy canes and gumdrops. Okay, well, it is those things, or those things are sugar. Anyway, one of the many, and I do mean many, problems with sugar is that its energy-producing effects is short-lived. It doesn't last very long, but boy, does it pack a punch. So when we're feeling low, like overwhelmed or bored or sad or depressed or anxious, etc., that can mean we might be low on dopamine. So our brain asks itself, hey, brain, when did we last feel good? And the brain answers, well, brain, I believe it's when we last drank that Mountain Dew yesterday. And then at that point, we start to crave the Mountain Dew and seek after the Mountain Dew, which then leads to a pattern of doing the Dew as well as doing other sugary or highly processed junk foods as a way to self-regulate or boost dopamine levels. Bonus question, what food goes with Mountain Dew's Baja Blast? Say it with me, Taco Bell. So whether you love it or hate it, Taco Bell trained millions of us to associate Baja Blast with its food because for many years, you could only get Baja Blast at Taco Bell. So it only makes sense that if Baja Blast represents a massive boost of sugar and caffeine, aka pleasure effect, we then will more likely associate Taco Bell with pleasure rather than... Now, if I go out and do the Taco Bell food products, I must drink Baja Blast or nothing for me, thank you very much. But this behavior of mine has become habitual in my brain. And that, my friend, is one of the many ways sugar affects dopamine in my brain as well as the brains of millions of others, maybe you too. Norepinephrine is a neurotransmitter. It's made from dopamines. And it's also a hormone released by our adrenal glands. That's hot. Cool. But here's the important part. Norepinephrine plays a key role in your sympathetic nervous system, which is where your fight or flight response comes from. And in case you didn't know, the fight or flight response system is what we use in emergencies to get our asses out of trouble and danger. It does this by making us more alert, attentive, and aroused.
Oh, behave.
Not that kind of aroused. It's also a vasoconstrictor, which means it constricts our blood vessels, which in turn helps us maintain a certain blood pressure for a short time when we're stressed out and in danger, which can keep us from fainting and can help us move faster, to get out of precarious situations. But I've got very bad news for you. The bad news is that all these things that I just mentioned can mess with our ability to sleep or to get a good night's sleep at the right time. And it can really affect our mood and our memory in a bad way when that happens. So norepinephrine keeps you on edge until you're out of danger. But if you're pounding Surge and Jolt Cola like it's going out of style, when are you going to let your fight or flight system chill out? So we need our norepinephrine levels to be lower, right? But not too low, because when our norepinephrine levels are too low for too long, we can experience anxiety and depression and ADHD symptoms and a plethora of other physical and mental health symptoms.
Well, you told me I have a plethora, and I just would like to know if you know what a plethora is.
So it would make sense that when we are feeling down and low, the drinks that boost our norepinephrine levels would be a possible way of self-medicating for certain conditions. But when we have too much of it, we can experience excessive sweating, headaches, shakes, and the jitters and anxiety and high blood pressure, and a fast, possibly irregular heartbeat, amongst other physical and mental health issues, including, guess what? ADHD symptoms. So it's kind of like you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, right? Right? Researcher extraordinaire, this person, did a study using Red Bull energy drinks and found that the young healthy adults in their study who drank a single energy drink experienced a massive increase in stress hormone levels and blood pressure. And their norepinephrine levels doubled. And Red Bull doesn't even have as much caffeine as so many of the other energy drinks out there. So imagine what this might do to you. Now, let's finally explore the drug we came here to learn more about, caffeine. I mean, it's in the title, right? Caffeine is a central nervous system stimulant according to, well, everyone, but specifically these people who did some research that backs that up. It's been shown to help with energy, alertness, and attention. But we all pretty much know this already. I mean, I mentioned it earlier. I know I just made caffeine sound cool, like the good guy in those Westerns. But is it really going to have our back in a shootout with the chaotic shenanigans that are ADHD symptoms? Scientific studies highlight caffeine's potential for enhancement of attention and cognitive performance. But when we do a little more digging, we uncover why it helps wake us up in the morning and can also help us from getting good sleep. I know, we've been told this, but we really don't care because we're still drinking caffeine in the evenings, aren't we? Or is it just me? Funny enough, my wife drank a large coffee last night and had Mountain Dew while we were out to eat at what? Taco Bell, Baja Blast. And she slept like a rock. Why is that? I don't know. But we've been told, and it really does make sense, that largely drinking caffeine in the evenings will interrupt our sleep. So the reason it affects sleep is because of its ability to block adenosine, which is a sleep-inducing chemical in our brains. When we block adenosine, we buy a little more time of wakefulness for ourselves. This is why people like caffeine in the morning when their bodies and brains insist they should still be in bed sleeping. Also, these chemicals, when working in tandem, can trigger the production of adrenaline, which is why so many feel that type of energy boost, okay? But let's back up to that part about being sleepy in the morning. Are you sleepy in the morning? Why are you sleepy in the morning? Well, it might be because we tend to stay up too late, or we get a terrible night's sleep, and even if we're technically sleeping. Even if you take medications, or if you use cannabis or alcohol to pass out, that does not mean necessarily that you're getting the good quality sleep that you really need. Being passed out and getting good sleep, they are not the same thing. So from what I've seen, one of the biggest culprits in our inability to sleep is caffeine, even if you don't have any caffeine that night. You see, caffeine's half-life can be anywhere from 3 to 11 hours depending on your metabolism. What is a half-life, you ask? Well, the half-life of a substance like caffeine is the time it takes for that amount of the drug in your system to reduce by half. For example, if the drug has a half-life of 7 hours, like caffeine is for some people, after 7 hours, half of the initial dose will still be in your system. And after another 7 hours, half of that remaining amount will still be in your system. And it decreases by half every 7 hours. Now, that's a grossly simplified explanation of half-life, but that's the basic concept. So let's say you have a white coffee mocha at 5 p.m. because it's delicious. If it has 200 milligrams of caffeine, 7 hours later, around midnight, you'll still have around 100 milligrams of caffeine coursing through your system. And what chemical does caffeine block? Adenosine. And adenosine is what helps you what? Sleep. And when most people are hitting the hay at midnight, your caffeine is still keeping you awake. Or if you do happen to just pass out, probably from chronic lack of good sleep and too much stress, you're probably getting a poor quality sleep. But that's not all. Another 7 hours later at 7 a.m., guess what? You still have 50 milligrams of caffeine whooping and hollering inside you. Woohoo! It's like having a regular cup of coffee already in you. Then, because you had a terrible night's sleep and you were just starting to get some quality sleep when your alarm went off at 7 a.m., we know how that is. Now you have to drag your ass out of bed and you're feeling exhausted, feeling groggy and slightly on edge. So when you feel like that, what do we turn to help us wake up? Coffee or energy drinks? Am I right? So you get your drink and you go to town on it. The sugar kicks in right away. Caffeine blocks adenosine, so you're not as drowsy and tired, but you're still dragging all day because you got poor quality sleep. But hey, by 5 p.m., guess what? You're finished with work, school, or whatever you got going on. You're feeling jazzed about that. You're especially feeling better, a little hungry, wiped out, but you're ready for a treat. So what is it you go to? You go to like a cola drink or an energy drink or a coffee. Yay! And we started all over again. It's the amusement park ride you just can't seem to get off of. Anyway, understanding the half-life of caffeine in any drug is crucial in determining if you want to use it or any other medication to treat your ADHD, or anything for that. If you know me, you know that I've always had the approach, if a little bit is good, a lot is better, right? But it's a good question to ask with regard to caffeine. Is there such thing as too much caffeine? Many will attest that some caffeine does a good job, while too much caffeine can transform your wakeful focus into a jittery inability to work. Scientific consensus suggests that a moderate amount of caffeine intake, about 200 to 400 milligrams for most adults, is fine, but over that amount, it may have an effect that actually may make worse our ability to focus and concentrate and get things done. Obviously, this whole focus and attention problem is a huge problem that affects more than just we ADHDers. After all, that's why there are so many products that are out on the market that claim to be energizers and sleep aids. This is a chronic problem that we, especially the Americans, have. We suck at sleep. We're great at self-medicating ourselves to oblivion to treat our sleep problems. But we have a totally messed up idea of what it means to be productive and a worthy citizen. Hell, we even pat ourselves on the back for working ourselves to death and shame people who take time off for personal time or vacations or the birth of a child or appendicitis. Like it's some sort of accomplishment. You spent your whole life working to make others rich, and all you got out of it was cheap clock with your name engraved on it and a slew of mental health disorders, a bad back, and kidney dialysis. Now, I'm not saying that if you need kidney dialysis, you did something wrong, but I'm very sorry about your condition. But for those who did work themselves to desperately poor health, you may agree that there is no honor in working ourselves to death. So, we all know that this chronic caffeine ride that we're on can lead to insomnia, which can have a devastating effect on pretty much everything, including your ability to concentrate and your ability to get started on tasks, and a whole slew of other problems, including more anxiety, depression, and the production of the stress hormone cortisol. Also, caffeine is a drug, and it can be addictive, and you can create a dependence on it. So that's not great either. Hell, when I was working on this video, I was going on 3 hours of sleep. Why? Because I had a Coke Zero at 6 p.m. the night before. I hit the zero a little late, and I woke up at 5 a.m. anxious about missing my alarm. Really worried I didn't set it correctly several times. So then when I worried that I did set it, I started checking it. And then I worried that I inadvertently shut it off while I was checking it. So I had to check it again just to make sure that I didn't accidentally shut it off. Anyway, I had to get up early to drive someone into the office. So what I did after waking up is I went and self-medicated with caffeine and a stimulant. So I get it. It's a problem many of us have, including me. That's why I make this video. So now that we know about some of the things in the drinks that we partake in, which one is best? Come on, man. Let me out here. I can do nothing.
I'll get it.
So let's talk soda and energy drinks. With caffeinated soda, we're not just talking about caffeine, but we're also talking about sugar or sweeteners as well, and a lot of it. This is how much sugar is in a can of Coke. We have to acknowledge that the caffeine may not be the main reason we turn to these drinks habitually, and it may not be the most profound effect we feel. Like soda, a lot of energy drinks have a lot of sugar, but they can also affect norepinephrine levels in the brain. Yeah, I feel that. I do. I feel that. Right there. I got it. While these soda and energy drinks with their sweet, sugary goodness, the nectar of the gods, results in a rapid increase in blood glucose levels, leading to a very temporary surge in energy, like I said. This effect is typically short-lived, and it can be followed by a crash in energy levels.
Hey, Paul, you okay?
like within an hour or so. And then what do our brains do? My brain tells my brain, hey brain, let us go and suckle from the Coca-Cola teat once more, whether we have heretofore found that energy that we so sorely desire. So essentially, sugary energy drinks like soda, Red Bulls, things like that, they become a compensatory strategy to cope with the challenges that we face as ADHDers with energy and self-regulation. Over time, the mere action of turning to these drinks for relief become ingrained in us and they become habitual.
Shut up!
So, if individuals with ADHD have developed a habit of consuming sugary drinks as a way to cope with life and brain challenges, it may contribute to a perceived craving, even if it's not really the caffeine doing the work, but may actually be the sugar acting as though it is helping. And maybe it is in some ways, albeit temporarily. Now, let's talk coffee and tea.
Oh, this coffee smells like shit.
The controlled caffeine levels in coffee and tea offer a more calm and focused alternative without all the sugary roller coaster ride. Unless you drink the coffee I do, which is basically just overpriced sugar.
It's a bit nutty.
It's like a hot melted milkshake, but deliciouser. But it totally jacks up my health too. And I seriously swear I can feel the dopamine and norepinephrine activating in me when I drink it. It's amazing. Hallelujah. Praise the caffeine gods. Coffees. All right, so let's talk coffees in particular. While coffee offers the same pros and cons that we talked about with caffeine, there are other factors to consider before you make the decision as to which one is best for you. So let's talk digestive problems. Most versions of coffee, for me, increases stomach acid, which means acid reflux, poor appetite, and indigestion. Some will feel heartburn as well, but if you happen to also be autistic, you likely have a long history with gastrointestinal issues. So this can be a big strike against coffee. There are also numerous studies suggesting that coffee may affect the metabolism and absorption of some medications. So, again, talk with the doctor. Doctor who? Not that doctor, but your doctor or healthcare professional. On the plus side, one study suggested coffee can be a source of antioxidants, which can have some health benefits. It also has some prebiotics, which may actually help gut health in many people. And probably most important, people like to just go out and get coffee together. Coffee can facilitate social situations where you can just talk about stuff, which can help with stress. And we all know what we're going through in life. And to get coffee with somebody, it's kind of an important and positive part of our culture. I got this in the mail. It's mushroom coffee. I've been drinking it for 3 months now, and it has actually done pretty well for my intestinal issues. I believe it's made me feel more calm, and it tastes good too. I am not being paid by them to say this, by the way, because there's a lot of different mushroom coffee companies out there. But the way I make this coffee, it's basically just full of sugar. So whatever. I like it, and it's better than coffee and tea and sodas, and it fits that early morning ritual of having something warm and hot to drink as I drive to the office. So now let's talk about tea. It's as old as dirt, and it usually tastes like it too. I like some types of tea though.
Some types of tea, he says. I can't even pronounce these words. What is this? Makeup?
But there are so many studies that tout the health benefits of various teas. So let's cover why tea might be the actual winner in this ADHD drink showdown. Some teas can help fight heart disease. They may help protect against cancer and can be anti-inflammatory and can help improve immune system functioning. There's an amino acid in green tea called L-theanine, which has been shown to help with anxiety and to boost dopamine. So for most people who have ADHD, anxiety is a real problem. So this is promising information for us ADHDers. I guess white tea is good for teeth, and some research suggests it can fight some forms of cancer. But tea, it has the least amount of caffeine, so if we're looking for stimulants, this might not be the best choice. Herbal teas have no caffeine, but still have various and fairly substantial benefits to health, from headache relief to soothing IBS. However, an herbal tea like chamomile can help with ADHD in the form of helping you sleep better and inducing relaxation. And remember how much a lack of sleep can exacerbate ADHD symptoms? There are a lot of mental and physical health benefits with herbal teas, so it's a good one to just chill with. Green tea is really excellent for your health. Matcha tea has 10 times the amount of antioxidants of regular tea. Green teas offer a little more caffeine than white tea, but not as much as coffee. Black teas also have a lot of health benefits, but they have a little more caffeine in them too. Oolong tea has about the same amount of caffeine as black tea, but has L-theanine, which has been shown to help reduce anxiety, increase dopamine levels, increase alertness, and improve attention. So, is there anything bad about tea? That's the question. Well, there could be. There are some weight loss teas out there that have laxatives in them, and lots of other teas have added sugars and sweeteners and other chemicals that make it pretty bad for your health. Also, like anything with caffeine, too much can leave you with the jitters or headaches or other health concerns, but it takes a lot of tea to do that. But when comparing tea to coffee, soda, and energy drinks, it really seems to be the healthiest option out of the three, so don't let anybody convince you otherwise. Overall, I suppose if we're going to use soda, energy drinks, coffee, and tea to aid us in our daily endeavors, let's just understand what they're doing to us and for us so that at least we can use them to our advantage as much as possible. You want a quick jolt? Something with a lot of sugar can do that, but be prepared for the crash and the health issues that can come with the excessive use. Need a little wake me up? Caffeine from coffee or tea might do the trick, although most tea doesn't have as much caffeine, and herbal teas, they usually don't have any caffeine at all. But overall, we must learn how they affect us so we can use them in a way that the good Lord intended. Hook me up. Wait, did I not just listen to anything I just said? But if you want what's best, water.
You mean like in the toilet? What for?
You got to check out this book. It has so much detail on why we're so jacked up because we are chronically dehydrated. And the 8 glasses of water thing is not good enough. It's not actually effective, I guess. But at least it tells you how to fix it. I'll do a video on that at some point soon too. Super important. I hate drinking water because I crave stimulating taste. So water, unless it's infused with something, doesn't get much attention from me. It should, but it doesn't. Okay, so for me, sticking with the mushroom coffee, the natural teas, and the fruit-infused water, that's pretty much my best option. So, drink to good health and better ADHD symptom management. Dirt. Well, I got to get moseying along now, so I'm the Neurodivergent Doctor, and I hope this helps you in your neurodiverse universe. All right, we are in Vader, Washington, where we have an Airbnb here that is Wild West Space Invader themed. I'll explain in a second. Come on in. Got all my caffeinated beverages here. This right here is our saloon area. You can see over here we've got a full bar, marble countertop. Everything basically in this entire place is secondhand or it's original antique that we bought like at bargain basement prices. Really fun. On the walls, all these really cool old historic photos of this place and places here in town, which is kind of neat. The player piano. Poker table. You can do all the poker things in there. This is about 1904. This building, by the way, was built around 1900. Oh, yes. Old grandfather clock. This was, what year was this?
I don't
know. 1904, 1903, somewhere around there. Bathroom, instead of standard stuff, we got old whiskey barrel vanities, which is kind of cool. Look at this, old pedal car. Picked that up at an antique shop a long time ago. All this stuff over here is like all antique-y. Everything here in the laundry room is like laundry related, which is kind of, antique-y also, which is fun. Here's another. We took this old dresser and we turned this into a sink thingy vanity, which is kind of cool. Old wagon wheel light. Look how it flickers. That's kind of cool. Check this out. Okay, so Angela, my wife, she had a special interest there for a while, which was picking up uranium glass. Yeah, uranium glass. So if you do a special black light, this glass stuff, it like glows blue or green or whatever color.
Blue isn't uranium. That's light.
So this is like a space laser here. It's kind of cool. Space laser to help. See, look, it says space glass on it, which is kind of neat. Kind of dark in here.
I think you're getting a call.
Am I? Oh. I was like, really? Where? Oh, I didn't even know that was in there. That's cool. How would anybody know that? This is the kitchen. It's got all these old kitchen things all over the place.
We made that. We just bought that.
Oh yeah, we made this. We just bought all this stuff and then displayed it. But all the old kitchen stuff, lots of games you can play here. This thing's an old, like an ice pick thingy that you like pick up ice with, and we thought that'd be cool to use as a paper towel holder. Grind your coffee, sir. An old iron. Look at this. Ooh, oops. Look at this old iron. This is cool. They would fill this full of coal and stick it on the heater, and it would like be hot. Tobacco baskets, old rolling pins. Kind of. Oh, check out this thing. This is the first time I tried this. This is a live edge countertop that I did epoxy, so it looks like a river, like you're gold panning in the river. It's kind of cool. Let's see if I can turn this light on. You can see a little bit better. All right, come up here. So up here we have our jail area. Just give me my attorney. Just kidding. We got a few bedrooms here. All the bedrooms are like, again, supposed to be like 1900-ish. Since I'm the doctor, we got Doctor Who come in and all the lights turn on automatically. And then you can sit here and play some games. So anyway, if you want to play games, you can come in here and do this. Look at this. My wife did this. It's a really cool photo she took of a spaceship. I made this vanity out of a piece of walnut. This is the primary bedroom. And yeah, big old huge sleep number. I'm not going to get on it since my wife just made the bed. But you can sleep like a whole bunch of people. So anyway, this is what we do for kind of a side hustle, because we need it to be our main hustle because we're both autistic. We're limited as to what we can do for work. So we have to like create things that create more of a passive income type thing or something like that. So our sons all do the same thing. We come and just chill out. We blocked everything off. Anyway, we're putting a hot tub right there next week, which is kind of cool. You can do a fire pit right here and sit around and tell cow folk stories. These Airbnb type things like this don't make a lot of money, but they're fun. So if you ever want to come to Washington State, to Vader, Washington, you can stay in this, and I don't know, maybe we'll come by and say hi. So anyway, that's it.